All right. Hey, everybody. We are live. This is Jeremy Kurlikowski here, and I'm so excited to talk to you guys today about why I believe 2020 has been the best year ever. Why I believe if it wasn't your best year ever, it should have been your best year ever. How to make 2021 your best year ever. If you feel like 2020 sucked, or if you feel like 2020 was pretty great, but you want to take it to an even greater level of awesome, then that's what we're going to be talking about. So specifically, guys, the reason why I want to bring this up is because I've been seeing a lot of like memes and gifs. We were laughing about this on one of our client calls recently, how, there's like all these different things. I was just looking at them before this. It's like, if 2020 was a scented candle, it's got like, porta potties being lit on fire, or if 2020 were a pinata, a picture of a beehive, or probably the best one if 2020 was toilet paper, then it would be like a cheese grater. Like it looks like a cheese grater with like, instead of toilet paper sheets. Bottom line, guys, like there's a lot of people that are laughing about 2020 in the sense of like, oh my gosh, this is the worst year ever. This has been terrible. And guys, please know, like, just as a general caveat, like just throwing this over everything, I'm not dismissing the fact that for a lot of people, this has been really, really hard. This has been difficult. I've seen a lot of people die from this. I've seen a lot of from COVID stuff. I've seen a lot of people get laid off, all this stuff. But guys, the reason why I want to talk about this is because I believe so much of what I'm going to talk about would have prevented so many people from suffering. Okay. And it's going to keep people from continuing to suffer. So that's why I'm so passionate about this. So hear me out. It's not from a place of like, I don't care that people have had some challenges. In fact, we've had a lot of our clients have had some of the greatest challenges of their life in 2020, but they're still prospering. They're crushing it. They're paying off more debt than ever. They're saving more than ever. Emergency fund, retirement. They're more united around their finances than they've ever been. They are increasing their income. We've had people double their income, triple their income. People start businesses and just crushing their businesses. We've had people that have gotten amazing new careers. We've had people, bottom line, guys, like we've had people that are winning with their finances, like ending depression around money, ending anxiety, ending overwhelm, ending frustration, anger. They feel like they're such a better version of themselves. What's up, Michelle? Happy Monday to you too. So we're just seeing people, guys, that have really made the most amazing thing out of 2020 that can possibly be. And the reason why I want to talk about this, first of all, is that the reason why I believe 2020 would be either an amazing year or a terrible year is really ultimately depending upon your perspective. And here's what I mean. You guys probably have heard this before, maybe not, but there's the whole roller coaster analogy, right? And there's some people that like to say, well, the roller coasters are terrifying. Roller coasters scare me. Or roller coasters, they're the most amazing thing ever. It's my favorite thing in the world. So guys, here's the thing. Like, if you think about that, really just stop and think. When you're getting on a roller coaster, if you see two people sitting in front of you, you might have seen this before. One person is having the time of their life. They're screaming, taking selfies. Like, I can't wait. When they get to that one part in the place where they take the picture, they're like, yeah, let's do this. They're having such an amazing fun time. But yet you've probably seen there's the other person that they somehow were able to drag this person on, and they're like throwing up, wanting to call 911, freaking out. And two people get off the ride and they go, oh, the first person goes, oh my gosh, that was the most amazing experience of my life. The second person was like, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. That was the worst experience of my life. That roller coaster is awful. That roller coaster is great. So here's the thing, guys, 2020 is no different. Now, when you think about the roller coaster, is the roller coaster bipolar, or is it the person's perspective looking at the roller coaster and experiencing it? And I would argue, guys, that if 2020 sucked for you, it's really because of how you chose to look at it, how you chose to engage with it, how you played with it, how you suffered in it. It just ultimately, I believe, guys, suffering for the most part is a choice. If you were suffering in 2020 and your life was not as amazing as you want it to be, that for the most part, guys, even if you had some serious losses, it was either in some way, shape, or form a result of past choices and consequences of choices, or even if on some level it wasn't your fault, if you're still in suffering now and feeling frustrated about it or feeling stressed about it, how you've chosen to respond to that challenge is what ultimately has been making 2020 continually suck, or could make it absolutely incredible. And so, guys, here's what I'm saying is that I'm not denying that there are forces that are outside of our control, right? A lot of people that come to us, they've been taken advantage of, they've been hurt in the past, childhood, different things have happened, work, they've been scammed, all this kind of stuff. People have been hurt, people have been ripped off, stolen from, you name it, right? But the reality is, guys, we all have an option of how do we want to respond to those circumstances. Do we want them to basically get power over us and give all of our power over away to those things and say, oh, this is the reason why my life is not great? Or do we want to say, you know what, this was still difficult and I'm going to let myself feel some frustration or some sorrow or whatever around it, but I'm not going to let that, claim the rest of my life and have power over my life. I'm going to take power over my life and my choices. And I'm going to make this very point of suffering the thing that is the reason why I'm successful. And guys, if you watch any successful person, that some of the most successful people, if you will go and Wikipedia their backgrounds, you will find that they've been terrible. They've had terrible pasts. I mean, they've been abused. They've been taken advantage of. I mean, we've seen people get kidnapped. I mean, you name it. They've been stolen from. They've been beat down. They were told that they were never going to amount to anything. They were homeless. They were whatever that would be. They're living in their car. But yet here they are, millionaires and billionaires. So what's the difference? Well, guys, the first difference, right? Why, if you want to make 2021 your best year ever, and 2020 wasn't, but you want to make, again, you want to totally shift things around. The first thing you have to do, guys, you have to own your power. You have to own your life, and just take a look in the mirror right now and be like, if life sucks right now, if I do not like my life right now, it is not 2020's fault. It is not the government's fault. It's not Donald Trump's fault. It's not Joe Biden's fault. It's not coronavirus's fault. It's not China's fault. It's not my neighbor's fault. It's not my boss's fault. It's not my spouse's fault. Ultimately, it's my fault. If I do not like my life right now, even if I've been taken advantage of and hurt, if I'm really honest with myself, the reason why I'm here is because of a series of choices. And it sucks at first. It's frustrating to own that, because at first it's like, gosh, now I have to feel guilt. Now I have to feel some shame. I have to feel frustrated with myself. I have to feel like a failure. Well, on some level, guys, yeah, it does suck a little bit when you own it. But on the flip side, you get back your power, because now you're not a victim. And now it gives you the ability to actually fix it and to do something with your life. Because if you think that everything outside of you is the ultimate problem and has ultimate power and control, then guys, basically your hands are tied behind your back. You're stuck. And you're waiting for someone to come riding in on the Calvary in the white horse that's not Jesus, that's probably a president or an employer or someone else, a family member or the church, to save the day, when really, guys, you have the ability, you have the power. You just need to remember. So, guys, if you feel like 2020, you've been beaten down, put in prison, you got rats crawling over you, there's your food's, your food sucks. It's cold. It tastes like crap. It's like hard as a rock. You're breaking teeth. I mean, if that's what 2020 felt like for you guys, what I'm trying to say, guys, is it's incredibly empowering when you can wake up one day and all of a sudden you're like, wait a second. I just remember how I got here. I tripped down the stairs going down the cell. I tripped in and I fell in the gate. The gate I must have shut behind me. You reach in your pocket, you realize, oh my gosh, I had the keys. I got myself into this mess. I can get myself out of it. I had the keys. I had the ability. So, guys, let's talk about then, like, what are some of those keys? What are some of those best ways to really be able to take power over the rest of the year? We still got a few weeks left, people, and then make 2021 awesome. So, guys, the first thing I want to just talk about is, guys, if you don't want to suffer, or if you want to know why our people didn't suffer in 2020, and, in terms of like so much emotional distress and overwhelm and exhaustion, things like that, guys, it's because, first of all, guys, they got not just, again, they took ownership over their life, and and where they're at right now, it's a series of choices, which means I'm going to take back my power. I'm not going to be a victim anymore to my circumstances. I'm going to be the victor. I'm going to own my power. That's the first thing, guys. That's honestly one of the most important things. But number two, guys, is that they focus on their own household. And guys, what's amazing is that if we stop looking at the White House and we stop freaking out about the White House, we realize that, ultimately, at the end of the day, there's only so much power I have over that. I mean, I can vote, I can raise some awareness, I can push back, I can do some things online. But at the end of the day, guys, for the most part, there's very little you can do at this point, to change the outcome. If you didn't like the election, it kind of is what it is at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe there's some things you can do if you're really, but guys, the reality is that even then, like, most people that are complaining about it, focusing on it, spending hours a week looking at it, reading the articles, they're not people that are activists or really doing something significant. We're just complaining and frustrated and overwhelmed and freaked out about something that's totally outside of your control at this point, unless you choose to do something significant about it, which most people aren't. Let's just be real. And so the reality is that, the reason why so many people are feeling anxious and freaked out about what's going on in the economy or what's going on with the elections is because ultimately their household's not in order. And guys, the reason why for so many of my clients, they've been winning is because they focused and said, you know what, forget what the White House has going on. I'm going to focus on my house. I'm going to make sure that I've got everything under control and that I'm doing what I need to do to get financially healthy, to get my stuff in order, to really get to a place where I feel confident with where my finances are. So what I would challenge you guys is right now, like, if you're freaked out about what's going on in the White House or what's going on in the economy, stop worrying about the White House. Decide, okay, I want to focus on my house. How are we doing? How is my marriage? How are my relationships with my kids? How are my relationships with my loved ones and my friends? Am I able to help the people that I feel called to help? Am I able to help the people in my church that I feel called to help? Am I able to serve? Am I able to give? Am I able to go to sleep without being freaked out? Am I able to sleep well at night knowing that I'm going to be okay financially? Am I able to wake up feeling energized even because even if, some people, they have a hard time sleeping. Some people, guys, they don't want to get out of bed because they're so depressed, because it's like, if I wake up and I really think about it, now I have to check my bank account. Now I have to go check the mail. I have to see who else is wanting their money. Or you just have to show up to a job that you can't stand, but maybe you feel stuck. Maybe you feel like, I can't leave because I've got the golden chains and the handcuffs around me because I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the freedom. I don't have the cushion to be able to go start my dream thing or find my dream career. Okay. Maybe you're waking up and you're deciding, okay, I feel frustrated with my spouse all the time. I'm arguing all the time, or I'm short with the kids. I'm snapping with the kids. I'm not the version of myself that I know I'm meant to be. I'm not able to serve. I'm not able to give on the level that I feel called to, that God is calling me to, because I'm financially constrained. If that's you, I would just say, first of all, just take an honest assessment. Look at where you're at. Look, how are you really feeling? Have an honest conversation with yourself. Have an honest conversation with your spouse. Don't minimize it. Don't laugh about it. Don't just post a meme about it or GIF or whatever about it, and just keep being sarcastic about it, guys, or even just post a Bible verse about it. Just kind of sweep it under the rug. It's like, guys, I love God's word, but it's crazy. Like, some of the people that I see posting the most scripture, and once you talk to them, they're the ones who are suffering the most, but almost nobody knows. And so I just would say, guys, be honest about how you're really feeling, what's really going on, and decide to say, you know what? Screw focusing on the White House. I'm going to focus on my house. I'm going to focus on, how can I get my stuff in order? How can I get to a place where I'm launching into 2021 feeling confident about where my money's going, where my year's going, and I'm going to determine my destiny. I'm going to decide and choose to make 2021 the best year ever. And again, that's the second thing, guys, is, like I said, first of all, it's owning your power, owning just basically where you're at in life, and the power that you have to make choices and to make a difference in your life. Again, the second one, guys, is, again, just choosing to focus on your house. Focus on, what can I do? What can I change? What can I shift? Okay, that's what I want you guys to do. The third thing, guys, that I really want us to talk about is specifically is your mindset, your strategy, and again, your support system. And here's what I mean, guys. When we talked about mindset, I talked about, guys, if you are living in consistent depression or frustration or anxiety or overwhelm or whatever it would be around money, guys, part of the problem is that why you're feeling so stressed out about 2020 is because all you can do is just conserve. All you can do, or preserve. Basically, if you're living in anxiety around money because you don't have a plan, you don't know how to move forward, how to be able to pay off the debt, how to be able to make progress, how to be able to get your stuff in order. You're basically like a squirrel taking all the nuts and hoarding them and shoving them in the tree. And what happens is you end up freaking so much out that you don't ever want to leave that little comfort zone or that little nest of security. But guys, what happens is, at some point, if you choose to focus on that, at some point, guys, you decide, I don't want to venture out too far. I don't want to have to, go the distance. I don't want to have to do that. But what happens, guys, is, again, at some point the nuts run out. At some point, you have to start going a little bit further beyond the nest. You have to start hunting. You have to start taking risks. And guys, when you're living in financial anxiety, you get so much into just preserving your assets and where you're at and covering your butt and trying to survive that ultimately you can't take the risks. You don't end up making the choices. You don't end up pushing yourself and going into that next level outside of your comfort zone, which is really ultimately where real financial freedom and real wealth is found. And so, guys, you have to have the right ability to master your emotional state when it comes to money, to master what's going on in your heart, is what I'm really saying when it comes to your finances. And not just that, guys, but really knowing how to have the right perspective, like I talked about earlier, to where I show up in my life as a victor. I show up with power. I show up feeling confident, making choices. And not just that, but having the strategies. Because, guys, it's not all just what's going on in your mind. That's a huge component. It's the majority of it, to be honest with you, from working with people time and time again. But I can tell you guys, you need to have a plan. You need to have a strategy. It says, ultimately, we were reading in Proverbs just the other day with some of our clients, that, guys, the plans of the diligent prosper. That ultimately, if you want abundance, if you want prosperity, if God did not want you to have that, or was not okay with you having it, would he give you verses in the Bible to show you how to be able to do that? But ultimately, so, I mean, it's common sense to me, right? But so if you go into the book of Proverbs, if you will look, there's so many passages on planning. And ultimately, guys, Proverbs teaches us that if we want abundance, if you want prosperity, you have to plan for it. You have to plan for it. And there's so many people that it's like we're chalking it up to just saying, oh, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. God's just going to do what he's going to do. God's got a plan. Well, of course, God has a plan, but you have to have a plan too. You have to have a strategy. You have to have a strategy for the money coming in. You have to have a solid system for managing your money, getting it under control and knowing where everything's going. I mean, you just have to. But not just that, guys, you have to have a strategy to be able to build wealth, to be able to grow that, to be able to expand the income and take it to the next level. Because, guys, you can only save so much money. At some point, we're called to step out into that, not just from, and guys, truly, not just from a place of trying to preserve our butts, which most people, they have to build their wealth significantly over the next few years in order to be able to get their long-term goals. But it's not just about, preservation and making sure we have enough just to get ours. It's really about, guys, making the biggest impact. And guys, if you really think about it, money is the multiplier of good works. If you are strapped for money and strapped for cash, guys, most of the problems in this world that people are raising their hand, your ministries, your nonprofits, all these places, people saying, we need help, we need help. What's the number one thing they're asking for? Finances. I mean, of course they're asking for prayer, but really even then, what are most of the prayers? Please pray that God would raise support, that God will send people to help us, right? So that, guys, so finances, guys, are absolutely critical. Again, you have to have the right mindset, you have to have the right strategy, but also, guys, you have to have the right support system. And part of why, for so many of our clients, 2020 has been the best year ever is because they found a community of people that are committed to their success, people that are going to lock arms with you in this battle. And guys, it is so much easier to face Goliaths in the form of COVID and, economic stress and all these different things when, guys, you're linked with 100 light warriors that are committed to making sure you succeed. And so, guys, again, if you don't have not just the right mindset, the right strategy, but the right community of support, coaches, people in your life, people, other people that are having the same objectives as you, that are challenging themselves, that are challenging you, that inspire you, guys, it is very hard to fight something like this when you're feeling, especially, guys, and everything right now is you're feeling so isolated. People are so, disconnected from one another that you have to now more than ever have an intentional community of people outside, especially, guys, I would even argue in an online community that are going to support you. They're going to do what they need to. So yeah, 2020 was an amazing year. That's awesome, Mike. Well, and again, guys, 2020 might have been amazing for you, but the reality is there's always another level. So I want to say, if 2020 was great for you, keep listening. If you want to make 2020 even better, keep listening, guys. That's my goal for myself, for clients, for you guys, is that even if 2021 was 2020 was like a 7 or 8, how can we make it a 9? How can we make it a 10? And so that's really what we're going to be talking about, guys, continually. So that's really the third thing, guys, is you have to have the right mindset, the right strategy, and the right support system, guys, to really create your own economy. That's really what we're talking about. It's to be able to, no matter what's going on out there in the world, to be able to create your own economy and say, listen, I have power over my life. I have an ability to through the choices that I make, to shift my destiny. And if that's what you believe, then ultimately, guys, what's great is you can create your own economy, no matter what's going on with the stock market. And this is why, guys, we've had people start businesses in the middle of a pandemic and they're crushing it. They're doubling, tripling their income. I was just talking to another client. He's like, we doubled our income in 2020. We doubled our business. Another one where they've tripled their income in 2020 business. I mean, guys, I could give you story after story after story of people that, whether it's their businesses, whether that's their career, they've gotten raises, they've gotten bonuses, they've landed their dream job. Just talked to another client earlier today. It's like, he's like, I just got an $11,000 raise. And then he got another contract before that was going to bring in like another $60,000 or so in the next 6. It's just crazy. Like, you can have what you want. I believe you can have it all, even in 2020. If you're committed, if you have the right support system, the right mindset, the right strategies for really mastering your money and really creating wealth and really creating a life that you love. Okay. So that's one of the final things, guys. The last couple, guys, that I wanted to be talking about is that ultimately the reason why I believe 2020 has been one of the greatest gifts is that God has given us one of the greatest blessings. And that is the form of a wake up call. It is. And I know a wake-up call for a lot of us, it's like when the hotel gives it to you, you're like, oh man, it's so early. But even that, again, guys, it's a blessing. It's like, it's a little bit early. Maybe it's a little bit inconvenient. Maybe it's not the time you were expecting. Maybe they call a minute earlier, maybe a minute late, or maybe, again, you just forgot they were calling. And so like, oh gosh, but again, I'm so grateful that I called. I'm so grateful that they called. And guys, really, I believe that God is calling right now to us in our generation, giving us the wake-up call. And I believe this is really the eye of the tornado. I believe that we've had some major shift in eye-opening, and people are realizing now more than ever, I cannot go into 2021 without a solid emergency fund. I cannot go into 2021 still with my household not being totally united and excited about where we're going financially and where we're at. I cannot go into 2021 still living in constant stress on my body, because it could literally kill you guys. I have seen people, and it breaks my heart, I have seen people with strokes, heart attacks, I've seen people die from COVID. And guys, honestly, I believe that so much of it was preventable. So much of it was preventable because, guys, stress is the number one cause of disease. And guys, if you think about even if doctors, if they're going to do a transplant, guys, what they do, they will inject stress hormones into that part of your body so that your body is more likely to accept the graft because it lowers the immune system and your body's, because again, your body's going to start attacking that graft. And so, guys, if you think about it, like if stress is used by doctors to weaken our immune system, guys, what happens when you're constantly stressed out about your finances or what's going on as it relates to your marriage or things like that, your relationships? And again, it's all connected to everything is connected to everything, guys. I mean, it's like some people have a hard time saying, well, what does that have to do with this? What does that have to do with my health? What does that have to do? Because, guys, everything shifts, everything transformed. It's like when I didn't have money, everything was hard. I mean, physically, I was breaking down. My marriage was not where it needed to be. My relationship with my kids was not where it needed to be. I couldn't travel. I couldn't do as much fun stuff with them. I couldn't take off as much time. I couldn't be as present. I couldn't help as much people. I couldn't eat as healthy as I needed to. I didn't have as much money. I couldn't. I mean, guys, like your finances affects every area of your life. You can't deny that. You can't dismiss that. So when you're not financially healthy, guys, it is going to cause stress. And I really believe that right now, again, so many people are going, I just refuse to spend another year putting this much stress on my family, on my health, on my ability, and really, guys, an ability to live a life of fulfillment. Because so many people, guys, between Thanksgiving even and I believe it's Valentine's Day, it's the highest time of the year where people are committing suicide because they're depressed, it's feeling dark. And guys, right now, if you're watching this, if you're feeling isolated, if you're feeling lonely, even if you've never thought about something like that, I just want you guys to know it doesn't have to be this hard. You don't have to be alone. And there are people out there that want to help you, that want to support you, that have the expertise, that have the wisdom, that have the ability to truly come alongside you and transform your life and help you make this the best year ever starting in the next few weeks. Okay, so guys, so that's the final thing I just want to say on that is that ultimately, guys, I believe this has been a great gift. It's been an incredible muscle building opportunity. That's where the resistance, guys, that's why I love resistance. Again, if you have resistance, you don't get muscle from the light little bands. You get them from the big bands. And for all of us, guys, I believe that this was a huge year of muscle building, but I also believe it was a huge wake up call. I believe it was God's way of saying, guys, listen, wake up. Ultimately, even if you think about 20, 30, 40 years from now, guys, it's pretty obvious with how much the debt is the government is taking on with where Social Security, social insecurity, if you want to call it that, Medicare, Medicaid, all these government programs, guys, at some point, I believe something is going to hit the fan. And I'm not trying to get you guys all my preppers on here riled up. But what I'm saying, guys, is that at some point, something has got to give. I mean, let's just be honest. And I believe that right now people are being woken up, especially if you're at a point where you're like, I really should be ready for retirement, or I should be getting ready for retirement. And guys, when I say retirement, I'm not just talking about, just getting a bunch of, shuffleboard games lined up on the Bahamas and, just counting seashells all day. I'm just talking about, guys, even just being able to provide for yourself. And I think that, again, most people don't realize, like, even if you've got a retirement account, you can't usually take out more than 4% of the money in there. Otherwise, you're going to end up, it's not going to last you long enough. So if even if you have $1 million, you can't take out more than 40 grand a year. So guys, think about that. Think about how much and again, but for a lot of people, again, depending on 401k, whatever, then you take taxes out of that, then inflation. For the average person, that's not enough to live on. And now, especially if you cut off the ability to get a significant amount from social, insecurity stuff, even right now, I think the average payment's like $1,300 a month. $1,300 a month. So I think in the future, guys, it's a huge wake-up call to get prepared. We cannot depend, our great-grandparents, a lot of them, they had pensions, they had things like that. Guys, that's just not what's going on right now. You have to prepare for yourself. If you don't, no one's going to do it for you. I think it's a huge wake-up call to the church as well, that, guys, ultimately, we cannot provide for our own when people in the church are struggling and broken and suffering. And not only that, but we can't provide for our communities when most people are like that as well. So guys, what I'm saying is we have to wake up. And I believe that God has said, hey, church, it's time to wake up and realize that it's time to get our stuff in order. It's time, guys, that as the church, we examine, what does God's word have to say about money? What does it have to say? And are we reaching out to all of these other things to fill voids that ultimately only God can fill, but ultimately, guys, to follow God's plan with your money so that you can have a life of real abundance and transform hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives. And that's really what it's all about. It's not just about you being secure and comfortable. It's mainly about you being able to not just provide for your family, but it's about you being able to go out there and change the world. And you guys, you can't do that if you're still not sure how to be able to pay your bills or how to pay all of your creditors. It is not fun. It's not fair to people in need, and it's not fair for you. And it shouldn't have to be this hard. So guys, what I want to say is if any of this resonates with you and you want to make 2021 the best year you've ever had and ultimately completely transform your life, I would just invite you guys to go to jeremykurlikowski.com/apply. Let's get on a call and let's figure out what's going on, how we can help you guys, and ultimately what it's going to take to be able to get financially free, to make your goals a reality, and to finally do something where your life is now inspiring, it's exciting, and where you're really moving the ball down the court in your debt-free progress and your savings progress, your ability to be totally unified around your finances, whatever that goal was for you when it comes to your money. We'll talk about it. We'll get clear on how to fix it, how to overcome, the challenges, and then really create the best plan for you. So again, guys, you can go to jeremykurlikowski.com/apply to be able to do that. And we would love to speak with you and see how we can help. So if you've enjoyed this show, again, thank you for hanging out so far. Again, if you're going to be watching this on the replay, do #replay and leave us a comment. Let us know how we can help you guys, and share this with someone that you love, someone that needs it. And ultimately, guys, I just want you to know, again, it doesn't have to be this hard. Life is 1,000 times easier when you have the help of an expert and a community of people that are alongside you for the ride, committed to your success. And if you've never had that, especially guys, a lot of people come to us, they beat themselves up like, I failed this, I didn't do that, I had signed up for this class, but it didn't work, or I read this book, it didn't work, and I try these things, and like you're beating yourself up and calling yourself a failure, when in reality, you just haven't, you have to keep trying. You haven't tried everything. You haven't done everything. And you've never had anyone really hold your hand. And guys, listen, I'll be honest with you. Most of my life, I hated exercising. I didn't like working out. I tried all the YouTube videos. I tried all the work from home programs. I tried reading the stuff. I tried whatever. And I got some traction, but it was not enough to get me an incredible ability to feel strong, to feel flexible, to feel more energized and youthful. And so I needed to hire a trainer. I got a trainer, and now I have people that I work out with my wife, and it's awesome and it's amazing. And I get great results. And the reason I do that is because I had to acknowledge that it's okay to be weak in something and receive from someone else who has spent thousands of hours gaining the expertise to help you overcome that challenge in your life. So guys, I do it. I spend insane amounts of money on training and personal development because I'm weak. I need help. There's area I don't do all of my attorney paperwork. I just went to the dentist and spent crazy amounts of money at the dentist. I'm not going to try to pull my own tooth. I'm not going to change my own oil. Guys, if you really want to start building wealth, you have to learn how to own like your area of expertise and outsource everything else that you are not really great at. And that's what I do. That's what our clients do. And that's what you should do too. If you are still struggling with your finances, you're feeling beat up, you're feeling just beat down, and ultimately you just want to try something that you've never tried before, which is really reaching out to someone who has the expertise, the caring, and ultimately can invite you into a community of people that are winning and that want to see you do the same too. So if that sounds great to you, go to jeremykurlikowski.com/apply, and we will talk to you guys soon. Otherwise, guys, have an amazing evening. I'm excited for our next show, and just can't wait to keep serving you guys. So love you guys. Have an amazing evening, and we'll talk to you guys soon in the next show. Bye.